Kevin, will you start the tape?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. So, and welcome to the April 4th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. We're going to start tonight with the application for Woodstock Properties Cats. That's the restaurant, the Red Onion, on the corner of Glasgow Turnpike and Route 212. They are asking for an area variance of 34 feet. It is zoned residential hamlet and business, general business. Who is speaking for the project tonight? Michael, is that you? Michael?
So I'm not sure if Michael Lockwood has access, but this is Michael Wentland, project manager for Lockwood Architecture.
Okay,
I
whoever's
know
speaking.
Michael's.
Okay, whoever is speaking for it, now is the time. If you would introduce the application for the board.
That would be Michael Lockwood.
Okay, and he's not here.
He is here, but I'm not sure he's, he can't hear anything.
Well, that's not helping.
Yeah. Michael, can you hear us?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, he can hear us.
You can't hear me.
We can hear you, but
can hear
very
you.
faintly.
Yeah,
Hey.
just get closer to the mic.
Yeah, my microphone is, I guess, on the computer. It's built into the computer down here. Yeah, so I wanted to present the, we're looking to.
I mean, we've seen it. We've seen the site plan.
Okay.
I think you could start by answering a couple of questions. The property line in the back, is the fence the property line in the back of the property?
I believe it is. Can I need to open up the site plan.
Okay, and Michael, we need to hear you somehow.
I need to sign in with my laptop so you can hear me. I'm trying to do that.
Okay. That would have been good to do that already, but
Well, I didn't know I would have a problem with my PC.
Well, you can also call in on your cell. Just make sure that you mute one or the other so we don't get an echo. The phone-in instructions are on the invite that went out.
Can you hear me now?
nope.
Not very well.
You can hear me now.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Yep.
I'm going to turn this one off, my computer. So now you should only have one.
Yeah, that's better.
Fine. That's fine.
All right, perfect.
So the first question we had was property line in the back. Is that where the fence is?
Yes, I believe it is. I'm opening in the site plan, but I'm quite sure that is the property. Yes.
Okay.
Just get it open here. Technical difficulties. I apologize.
Okay. So we understand that you have a small kitchen there. Those of us who have eaten there, we know that.
Yeah.
And you want to have a bigger kitchen.
Yep.
The kitchen looks like it's almost the entire size of the restaurant on the site plan.
Right. Well, we're still yet in the design process, so we're really trying to go for just to see what the maximum we'll be able to, what our options are, and because we know we most likely are not going to need that entire space that we're asking for, but we're just, until we get through the design, we're just trying to see what would be acceptable to the board.
Well, that's a large variance because it's only 50 feet to the property line and you're using up 34 feet of it. So anything you can do to reduce that would be great.
Okay.
How far away is the neighboring property on the other side of that fence?
Neighboring property or the house itself?
The house.
It's a pretty poor site plan here I got. Hold on.
Well, the house is not on the site plans.
Right, I know it's on another site plan, an old site plan that I have. Let me see if I can't figure it out.
Well, let's not waste time doing that. That's something you'll have to let us know.
Okay.
Just a
Can I
sense of how
speak with,
impacted they're going to be.
I'd like to ask Michael Wentland in my office, who's also on the meeting. Just was
Yeah.
curious, Michael, if you knew how big the addition needed to be to satisfy the plan we were initially looking at.
Yeah, I can definitely answer this question. So we don't know how far the house is from the addition, but from the property line to what we're asking variance for is 16 feet.
Right.
But yeah, but go ahead. But what
So-
could we get away with in terms of reducing that setback to not be as a 34-foot request?
Yeah, so real quick, the current setback requirements, and this is long after the restaurant's been there, the setback requirements are 50 feet. And the current kitchen, the way it stands, which is severely undersized for the business, is within that setback. It's within that setback by, several feet, 3 to 4 feet. And the restaurant is trying to expand its kitchen to make it more modern, more healthy, and to accommodate more guests, of course, to bring in more revenue. So we're hoping to extend into that setback by 34 feet if we can, because to the to the right of the restaurant, there's a currently existing ADA ramp, which is sort of in the way. So to go right is a problem. To go left, there's some coolers that already exist. So really the proper way to extend the restaurant is back towards the back property line. And right now there's a bunch of dumpsters back there, and pretty much everything is within the area of what we're proposing for the new kitchen. But we'd like to, get rid of all that stuff and use that space for the kitchen instead.
Right. The question is,
Yeah.
Since the setback is supposed to be 50 feet, you want to use 34 feet of that, leaving only 16 feet between your property, between your building and the adjacent, the rear property. The question is, how much can the design be changed, if at all? This is a question that one of the board members asked, and we want to make sure it's on the table, to reduce that setback.
Okay, that's a good question. So again, we would like to, in the design that we're proposing, we would like to use the space that the existing condition exists in and then extend it. Now, we're asking for 34 feet. If we can get 20 feet, that would be great. If we could get 25 feet, that would be even better. If we could get 30 feet, that would be best. 34 is what we're asking for. That's the big bite. But we could probably get away with between.
Realize you're making again is what it is.
Well, again, it's the kitchen is a vital part of the restaurant, and what we'd like to do is modernize it and make it more efficient to use and more profitable for the business, of course.
We get
and
that.
Then, of course,
Yeah. So I think, we're gonna definitely design it to look like it's in, like it's been there, like it's part of the historic building.
Right.
That's there now, so we'll definitely keep that in mind for sure.
Okay, my question is, the current kitchen, how far is the current kitchen from the property line? Is it 50 feet? Is it less than 50 feet?
Less than 50. It's like 4 feet, actually more than that. With the little bump out, it's probably 10 feet. It's probably like within 43 feet from the property line now.
So the
Yes.
question, so the variance that you're requesting includes the current kitchen. So the 34 feet is the total with the current kitchen and the extension.
Yes. Yes, from the setback line. Yep.
Okay, just that's what I wanted to know.
Mhm.
Good. And you say that you could possibly reduce it a little bit if you needed to.
We
Yeah.
can.
We don't
Yeah.
want to crimp your design. We just want to see what kind of movement you had within that. The other question is, has anybody spoken to the property owner behind you yet? To get a sense of,
No,
okay,
I don't think so. I know there was someone that lived there previously who had since left and moved out, and I believe he has a much better relationship with the neighbor now, the new neighbor, compared to the person who used to live there. So,
okay. Well, the variance lives with the land, so whoever lives there in the future is still going to have to.
yeah.
Okay, so if your design is finished and this is what you're asking for, that's what we need to know. If you still have some play with that design, we would like to know that as well.
Yes, we have some play with it now. Yes.
Okay, when do you think you're going to finalize that so that we have some idea of what we're going to be going to the public hearing with?
If I can answer this very quickly, if we could find out how much of a variance we can get, we can organize that design.
How much of a what?
If
The
we can,
variance, yeah.
Well,
if
I
we
mean,
could,
we want the variance to give you what you need. I mean, if
Yeah,
your
we just don't
kitchen-
want to design a kitchen that then gets shot down. So we're then doing our design phase twice and costing.
We're not
clients more.
designers. That's not our job. Our job is to make sure that we're giving you what you need, but the smallest variance that is possible. So if you're telling us that this is it, this is what you need to have that kitchen, then that's what you're asking for.
Mhm. We could lay out a footprint, probably just a footprint on what we would actually need. We could do that to get it
There's going to be
more.
nothing behind that kitchen, right? There's not going to be any cars parked. There's not going to be any
No.
dumpsters back there. The
No.
kitchen is going to be the end of it at that point.
At that point,
That's-
yes.
that's right. Currently, there's an access road that runs along the backside of the property, and that access road is to remain, and the kitchen is to be built up to that access road.
Okay. Okay, any questions from the board?
Patty, it's Joe. Why
Yes, Joe.
Why can't you give us what you really think you need so we know what we're working with? This is too open-ended, I think. Give us what you think you really need, and then we can make a decision. You're saying you may need 34, you may not. You have some playroom. Put it down on paper so we know actually what you really are looking for.
Okay. We can do that. I just need to hold on. We do have a hand sketch. I would just need to figure out how much feet that entails through, work through the sketch of the design to let you know that information.
I just want you to know that you're getting what you say you need, but you're not pushing it beyond what you don't need just to have the extra space. I want, because the variance is important. You want some open space between your building and the next property line. That's what the whole
Mhm.
variance setback is for. So
Right.
you don't want to push it.
Mhm.
So,
If I can speak here for a second, we have a hand sketch that the owner helped us out with based on the equipment that he feels he would need. I think he was about 30 feet over the setback, and it was tight, which is why
over the
we asked.
setback? Over the
which is-
setback of 50 feet?
Yeah, again, the current kitchen is already over the setback because.
No,
the
I meant
setback-
the setback is 50 feet.
Yes, and the current kitchen, which has been there a long, long time, is already past the setback because these setbacks have changed through time. So,
Yeah, it's a non-conforming, right now, the building is non-conforming with the existing setback.
Right.
So we're looking, it's probably, since the existing building is at the worst case, about 7 feet over the lot line, I'd say we were asking for like 23 or 25 feet. I'd say 25 would be really what we'd like to have.
When you say over the lot line, what lot line are you
Or I
talking
mean,
about?
Over the
the setback line, not lot line.
You mean the original setback line,
Yeah,
not the 50-foot setback line?
No, the restaurant is over the
Okay.
50-foot setback line right now.
Okay,
That 25, including the 7 foot you're over, or is that 32?
I guess it
You
would
really
be,
need to draw it up again and show us exactly what.
yeah, I think,
I mean, if you need the 34 feet, then you
Mhm.
need the 34 feet for the kitchen, for everything that you need. I just wanted to know whether that was a firm number or whether there was play in that number. But if it's what you need, then that's what you're gonna submit. That's what you're
Right.
asking us for.
Based on our research, that's what seems to work
yeah,
out best.
30, I think is the number. I mean, we can definitely check it out. If we can get less, we'll let you know, but,
Well, 34 is the number that you're giving us.
well, 34 is what we said, yeah, but I think 30 would work. We could do 30.
Well, before the public meeting shows up next month, you should let us know. But right now, we're gonna consider it at 34. If it ends up being less,
All right.
okay. Does any member of the board, anybody else have anything they want to ask? Now, you have to have a public hearing where you'll be sending out cards to 50 people who live within 500 feet of the restaurant. And Kevin will explain all of that to you. Kevin, can you do that now? Are you there?
Sure. I'll be sending that, I guess, to you, Michael. I have your email address.
Sure.
So it'll be a CSV file of all the property owners within 500 feet of the Red Onion property. There will be a boilerplate template letter that you will send out to them. This has to go out by certified mail, so you're going to have to collect those green receipt cards back. So you'll send those all out. I will need those green receipt cards before the next meeting, just as proof that you sent them out. So you'll get the list. It'll be in the XLS form. You just put those into your whatever label maker, whatever system you have, or hand address, what have you, and get those out. And it'll just be saying, listen, we're having a public hearing for, or an area variance request.
Okay.
With the specifics. We'll give you a
Right.
template of that letter.
And
So
it'll
everybody
tell
knows
the
what the
public what
variance
it is, and it'll tell them when the meeting is and how they can join.
All right.
And then we'll put a notice in the paper as well. And then we'll take it from there.
All
Patty,
right.
I have a question, Patty.
Sure, go ahead, Henry.
Is this going to affect the parking in the back
No,
in the whole facility?
no, there's parking along the fence on the when you're looking at the front of the building on the right-hand side. There's some employee parking on that fence, and the rest of the parking is all on the front and on the side of the drive lane that exits. A lot of people park there as well.
Right.
But
Eddie, do we need a motion to hold the public hearing?
Yeah, we're gonna do that. Anybody want to make the motion to do the public hearing?
I'll make
This
the
is not
motion,
only-
Patty.
Who was that, Joe?
Randy.
Randy. Okay, Randy's making the motion to hold the public hearing, excuse me,
Second.
in May. And who seconds?
Joe?
Joe. Okay. I'm gonna do a roll call vote. Henry? Henry? Henry, are you there? Can you hear us? You said yes. Okay. Joe?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay, so we will see you the first Monday in May for the public hearing, and you'll get those cards back to Kevin. And if you have any changes, make it soon, because these things have to go out by a certain time, and the notice has to go in the paper by a certain time. So we want
Yeah.
to make sure we have the specifics.
will I have those times will be in the email I get
Yep.
sent? Yeah. Okay.
You
Great.
bet.
All right,
Perfect.
Michael, I'll have that to you this week.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the Tarpon Towers Verizon Wireless. Before I open the public hearing, I just wanted to say a few things about the last meeting. Mr. Olson, you're here, are you not?
I am.
Okay. There were a couple of things that you said for the record last time and that were incorrect, and I wanted to correct them for the record. starting with how much time the ZBA spent on the Mount Marion Firehouse application. At one point, you said it took us 3 years. Kim told you it wasn't a full 3 years, and you said, well, it was real close to that. I'm going to tell you that the application took us 8 meetings, starting in June 3rd, 2019, when Mr. Hyde Clark came to the ZBA for his first and only meeting. And then it was 6 months, January 2nd, 2020, before you came to the meeting, and then we started on a regular system of meetings. The Hyde Clark meeting, quite honestly, was not productive. He couldn't answer any questions from the ZBS in terms of the mapping or the whether or not there was even a firehouse lease that was done, about whether or not you had explored the industrial zone. None of those questions were asked. What he did do, though, was take those questions down and gave them to you so that you were able to send us a supplemental where you addressed some of those. So we didn't really start until January 2nd. And then on March 2nd was the first time Mr. Crosby joined us. So we had our first opportunity to do any kind of RF engineering questions then. And we ended up closing the application in January 2021 when we vote and we read and voted on the Monroe Doctrine decision. So it was 8 meetings, wasn't 3 years, wasn't 2 years, wasn't even 1 year. And I just thought that was important. I know you may have spent 3 years on it because you did the lease with the firehouse in 2018, and I know you have been working on that. So I will give you granted that you were working on it for many years, but the ZBA did due diligence on its review of this application, and I want the minutes to reflect that. The other thing that you had said was that we had ignored the fact that you had sent us that letter about a collapsible tower, that we didn't address it, we ignored it. That report was not ignored. In fact, it was October 4th, 2021 at that meeting that Holly Strutt first asked you whether or not you would be willing to incorporate that kind of breakpoint tower into the construction. And you said, absolutely, yes, you do that all the time. So that was the first time we had ever heard about it in all the applications. Then you sent us that letter, which was great. And then at the very next meeting, Joe Mayone asked you if you could share some of the design with us and how it worked and so forth. He was curious to know how the thing worked, and he was told that no, you couldn't, or whoever, maybe it was Brett who said that he didn't have the designs, but the letter should suffice. So the interest was there. We did not ignore it. And I wish we had known about it earlier. That would have been great.
Well,
And then
I'm not sure that, does that have anything to do with this current application?
That had to do with the other application, but you brought it up in terms of the Mount Marion.
Just wanted to make sure I'm understanding what application we're talking about, because that decision is over.
It only came up for the first time in the Industrial Drive application with Holly's question. You said
Correct.
you do it all the time, and then you referenced it again at that meeting last week about that it's in this one too. You'll be using the same thing for the Mount Marion Firehouse. And I said, well, you should send that to us because you would never put that into the application. So, and then the third thing that you said was ignored was the shot clock. And that you had wanted to get a response from me from the shot clock. I went and pulled out all the letters you and I had back and forth about the shot clock. I did get a letter from you in response to my letter. On November 23rd, you sent me a letter agreeing to extend the shot clock to January 6th. And there were no conditions. It was just a lovely letter, short, to the point, and that was that. And then a few days later, I got another letter from you, and then there were conditions. And that's where you wanted to have the Mount Marion Firehouse and the Industrial Drive both resolved on the 26th. And you sent me a little thing at the bottom of the letter to fill out that I agreed. I did not fill that out because I did not agree with that, because I had already explained to you that we were going to finish one application and then bring the other one back. So you were not ignored. We were not thumbing our nose, rolling our eyes, or doing anything like that with the shot clock. We took it seriously. We tried our hardest. to bring this thing down to a reasonable time limit. So I just wanted those things on the record. And with that, I will take a motion to open the public hearing. Anybody?
I'll make
Make
that
a
motion.
motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, Tim makes a motion. Henry, do you want to do the second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call vote. Henry? Henry, yes?
Yes.
Henry, we're voting. Okay, yes. Joe?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Unless there's anything that the board wants to say beforehand, I would like to just open it up to the public. Some of them were not here, I think, last time because of the ice storm. And then some were. So who was not here last time? Andy, I don't think you were.
Oops.
Andy Turk-11, do you have anything you want to
Yes.
say?
No, I'm just listening, but thank you for asking me, Patty. I appreciate that.
Okay. Gina, did you have anything you wanted to add to what you had discussed last month?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody from the public who has anything they want to say?
John Kilby has his hand up.
John, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good show. I wasn't at the last meeting, but the Daily Freeman reported verbatim, I believe, the developer said that the landowners in suitable locations were unwilling to sign a lease agreement. In December of 2020, Tarpon Towers submitted a 9-page boilerplate lease document to my lawyer, experienced in municipal cell tower negotiations. We submitted a 1-page offer sheet to Tarpon, who on the January 19th, 21, we indicated our industrial-based terms were not acceptable. Basically, take it or leave it. No further negotiations since that date or contact. The ZBA has already indicated the discrepancy of the small search area to the applicant. Yet here again, we're reviewing only 2 of the choices for the proposed tower location. I believe that they indeed should still look at 37 Industrial Drive. In my opinion, biased opinion, the siting of the array of 37 Industrial Drive is the best siting so far offered for all parties. The variance is required. Lot 17 would be in an area that cannot be developed by the owner because there's a Class C stream. Also, the lot to the north of us, 51 Industrial Drive site, operating on a special use activity. It would affect the RV weekend-only parking area, which is 110 feet away. The concern for the tower distance to the front door would indeed be approximately 300 feet away, based on the plans submitted to the ZBA. The lot to the rear of the throughway is only used for hunting currently, which would not be affected. Last but not least would be that the tower would stand in front of a mature stand of trees, which are approximately 125 foot in height. This would mitigate the visual aspects for the area residents and neighboring lots on Industrial Drive. The nub of this situation is the terms offered by Tarpon are inadequate based on New York State locations in the industry. And the main reason no other locations have offered sites for consideration is probably this. That's essentially it. I put it in writing just in case I couldn't get through this evening. But I think it should be considered as to developing more applicants or offerings to Tarpon. And if not, I believe they should review our site.
Thank you, Mr. Kilby. Anybody else? Going once, going twice, going 3 times? Anybody else from the public have anything to say? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Excuse
Patty,
me.
Wait, I'm sorry.
wait.
I made a mistake.
Are we going to be allowed to provide a written response? And if so, if you're going to close the public hearing, the response with additional information is going to come after the close of the public hearing.
yeah, Patty, I believe that the applicant had asked to have the public hearing continued so that they can
Okay.
address the comments.
I mean, isn't that normal procedure?
Well, we
Well,
will.
you can, but you had asked for that, Scott, and we'll I recommend the ZBA.
Only because the last time when we submitted something after the close of the public hearing, which was in response to something, that we kind of got our hands slapped a little bit.
Now, generally, we will close the public hearing, still allow things to come in for a few days, but in this case, we're going to keep the public hearing open. Kim
Thank
is
you.
right, because you asked for it.
Thank you.
One other
Patty.
thing I wanted to bring up that I was
There's
made
a-
aware of last week was that there was a notice in the Kingston Freeman in the legal office from Tarpon Towers pertaining to a cell tower at 17 Industrial Drive, and it was for people to contact the FCC about the lighting on the tower. I don't know why that was done, Mr. Booglin, or if you're here, could you just explain to us what that was about? Brett, are you here? Can you hear us?
Yes, Madam Chair, sorry about that.
Okay.
As part of our due diligence process, we're required to register projects with the FCC. And that notice appeared without my review of it due to the pending legal matter over that industrial drive. So it's been withdrawn, and I apologize for the confusion.
Okay.
Patty, Andy has her hand up now.
Okay, Andy, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Patty. I really didn't plan any to speak tonight, but
we know what you're going to speak about.
Yeah, but I just want to remind the zoning board, and I'm sure you guys are well aware of it. You've done an excellent job. The task at hand tonight is the firehouse. It is not 37 Industrial Drive. That would have to come with an entirely new application with a whole different set of requirements and setback regulations and everything else. So I just want to thank you for just staying focused on the task at hand tonight. Thank you.
Okay.
So Patty, going back, you had mentioned that the public hearing was continued. Do you want to take a motion on that?
Yes, I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing to the next meeting. Can I have a second, please?
Second, it's Joe, I'll second.
Okay. Henry, yeah, how do you vote? Henry, I'm gonna have to go put something on you to wake you up. Henry.
I
Okay.
think he has a bad connection.
Yeah, Joe?
Yes.
Henry, do you vote yes? Okay, Tim?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Kim, did you want to add
Patty,
something else?
I'm sorry, Mr. Kilby has his hand up again.
Okay, Mr. Kilby, but we
Well,
want
yeah,
to keep
if this is about 37 Industrial Drive, I think that we should just
we're
continue.
focused right now on the Mount Marion Firehouse. Mr. Kilby, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. What I was referring to was the statement that the developers said that landowners in suitable locations were unwilling to sign a lease agreement.
Okay.
We indeed, the plans for our site were submitted as the original application to ZBA. So the statement was incorrect, and I was merely correcting that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Kim, did you have anything you wanted to address about the letter? Let me just clear the air with everybody. Most of you already know that we are being sued. The ZBA is being sued by
So Patty, we don't have to.
Okay, but with the letter that we got today that we sent to the board is all part of that. So, I mean, people are asking, and we might as well we're at a public hearing. There is a lawsuit going on, and everybody who's part of this in terms of the public should at least be aware of that. Tarpon has every right, Verizon has every right to challenge us in court. It's not unexpected, and they have every right to do so. And but just so that you see documents and you hear whispers, let's just get it out. It's happening. It's okay.
There's a pending lawsuit right now, but
Pending lawsuit.
It's a pending one, so we'll just,
leave it at that.
Leave it at that. But we did get, the ZBA did receive a letter today from Mr. Olson on behalf of the applicant that was basically, there was a comment made at the last meeting that the applicant did not believe that the negative declaration was rescinded. And the letter today was, again, in response to that. So it is our position that the ZBA did properly rescind the negative declaration from June 2020. A negative declaration has to be rescinded when there is a substantive change in circumstances that may create that wasn't considered previously, that may create a significant potential adverse environmental impact. And that change in circumstances was because the ZBA did not consider the application to be immune from the zoning law. That was based on the Marone decision. So that is what had prompted the negative declaration to be rescinded at the October 2020 ZBA meeting. The October meeting 2020 was an open meeting. A motion was on the floor. It was presented on the floor. It was up for discussion. And the ZBA, the applicant and its representatives were at that meeting. No objections were raised. And the positive declaration was not issued until March 2022. So the ZBA's position and our position as your counsel is that a reasonable opportunity was provided to the applicant to respond. If the applicant does not believe they were afforded that reasonable opportunity to respond, I would recommend that the ZBA provide that opportunity to respond. What that would mean is that we asked in our response letter that the applicant provide by the ZBA by April 22nd if they would like to continue with their objections or if they would not. Again, our position is that the negative declaration was properly rescinded and the positive declaration was correctly issued. If the applicant does not believe they had the opportunity to respond to those comments, then they can make that known. They can say that they're continuing their objections. And then at the May meeting, we can review those comments and, we'll let the applicant respond and we'll put them on notice again that the intent is to rescind. We'll give them the opportunity to respond. And then we'll review those comments. And if the ZBA can still rescind the negative declaration upon review of those comments and can still issue the positive declaration. I've provided a letter to the applicant and its counsel to state this, but just explaining for the ZBA what's going on right now.
Does this require any vote on our behalf, or is this just?
Nope. Nope. We've asked the applicant to provide what their response will be by April 22nd, and then if they decide to continue with their objections, then we'll discuss it at the May meeting.
Okay. And Mr. Olson, did you receive Ms. Garrison's letter?
I believe it was sent to my email. I have not had a chance to review it, but I will be reviewing it with my clients.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so we'll just leave that as it is then for the time being. Okay. Is there any other business pertaining to this application, the Mount Marion Firehouse application, that we need to discuss tonight? Henry? No? Okay, so we're not going to close the meeting, but we will finish this agenda item until next time, and then the board, we will just approve minutes and do the other things that we have to do. Kim, is there anything that I'm missing, leaving out?
No, but when you say we're not, you mean we're not closing the public hearing, correct?
Yeah, we're not closing the public hearing. Normally I would do a motion to close that.
Right, yep.
And we're not going to close the meeting yet because we still have to approve minutes yet.
Right, okay.
So, but anybody who is not involved with the minutes of the board and wants to stick around and hear us do that, can leave, and you will not be missing anything. And Kim, thank you very much, as always, for your good counsel. And Mr. Olson, Mr. Booglin, good evening, and everybody else. And then the board, we are going to approve the minutes from the March meeting. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion, Patty. It's Randy.
Randy, okay. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have 2 seconds, Tim or Henry. Okay, and we'll do just a voice vote, please, or thumbs up, whatever you're giving me. To approve, yes? Say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Is
Yeah.
there any other business that the board needs to discuss that I am not thinking about? I have one question I would like to ask, since I'm really not able to go out and do site visits right now. Could somebody or 1 or 2 people from the board make a site visit over to the Red Onion and take a look at that backyard, that back property, if you could, and get a good sense of how close the house is? That would be helpful to the rest of us, I think, if somebody could do that.
I'll do that, Patty, tomorrow.
That's great. Thank you.
I'll take some pictures and send them to you.
That would be great, just so we all have an idea.
I think that house that Porter's is on Cottontail Lane, so.
Okay. All right. I noticed from the pictures that I did online that they had a fence back there. It's a sizable piece of property that they have back there at the Red Onion. And it didn't look like there was something very close, but it's always good to know, have our information.
When I do the parcel viewer and the 500-foot, I'll also get an idea. I can send a picture that shows the properties from aerial as well.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Okay, so having no other business to discuss, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. I love that word, entertain the motion. Okay. Anybody?
I'll make the motion. It's Joe. I'll make the motion.
Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have Henry or Tim or both. Okay, thank you all very much. And we'll have a little bit of better understanding of how next meeting's going to go once we get a response.
Patty, we should vote on the motion.
Oh, that would be good. Thank you. Okay, let's have a voice vote for the motion, please. All voting yes, say aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you for keeping me on tap. Thank you. Okay, so good night, everybody, and stay well, and talk to you soon.
Good night.
Good night.